I'm Janelle Felton-Holtmeyer, Associate Editor of Modern Distribution Management, and today I'm talking with Pamela Kahn, President of Bishop-Wisecarver Group. Bishop-Wisecarver helps manufacturers and automation providers engineer linear and rotary motion systems. Hi, Pamela. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, in general, how's business been?
Well, no complaints for the start of this year. We've actually had 2 record-setting months so far, so right now I'm very happy.
Great. And what's the outlook for the rest of 2013?
Well, internally we've got a pretty good stretch goal that we have a lot of confidence that there's a lot of growth out there still to be had in the market.
Are there certain areas where you expect particular strength or weakness?
I don't know yet how the sequestration is going to affect us because we do have some significant government and defense customers. But even outside of that, we see a lot of growth around packaging, anything to do with food, medical, and lab. We're still seeing some really strong numbers. Instrumentation and controls are good as well.
In the last few years, we've seen a lot of advancements in manufacturing technology. What are some of the things that excite you about the future of manufacturing?
Oh, it all excites me. I think it's great to see whether you want to call it reshoring, onshoring, inshoring, coming back to the USA. What's been proven out is that logistically there's obviously a certain value to designing close to where you actually manufacture. And so a lot's coming back, and automation is obviously playing a big role in bringing manufacturing back to the U.S. and growing it here. So the whole future of manufacturing, I think it's the technology and the leveraging of technology in manufacturing is only going to grow exponentially from 3D prototyping or additive manufacturing to the changes you're seeing coming out of the introduction of nano and coatings and composite materials. It's really exciting, and then if the whole NNMI project really gets off the ground from the Obama administration, then who knows what type of exciting innovations are going to come out of those centers across the country.
Well, speaking of technology, social media and the role it can play in this industry is still something that many people are trying to figure out, but an area where many people have identified you as a particular leader. Could you comment on the role of social media for you and your company, and why should other companies be looking more seriously at this?
Social technologies is a big part of our growth plan, and I think if you look out there and see what the current thought leaders are talking about, more and more you will see that your actual product has less and less to do with the success of your company. It is what you wrap around your product, the experience, the ability for the company to create a really tight relationship with the customer. And I think that's where the use and the leveraging of social technologies is really key. We do have an aging workforce, and some of those maybe are not as inclined to adopt the social technologies, but then again, demographic, the 42 to 65-year-old is the fastest growing demographic on Facebook right now. So it really does touch across all the generations. And, we have to be where the customer is and where the customer is talking. And if the customer is talking and looking for information now through social technologies, then it's vital to be there. In terms of why other companies should be looking more seriously at this platform, I feel that a lot of companies think about this sort of the same way as when we first got the internet and when we first started using email. A lot of people just don't see it as being a viable business tool, and I think they're just behind the curve. I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think it's a fad. I think it's something you have to jump in and start learning how to use and leverage it for the growth of your company.
That's some good advice. So this last question is one that we ask all of the people that we feature in this segment, and that's, what keeps you awake at night? In other words, what 3 things do you think managers and executives should be keeping front of mind right now?
Ooh, this is a hard one because I actually sleep really well. So I'd say first and foremost what keeps me up at night is just how out of touch the current political system is with the needs of manufacturing and the needs of small business. I think it's very troubling. The laws and the regulations and the taxes and all of that that are coming out of Washington, D.C. that just show really clearly how out of touch they are with reality when it comes to running a business, especially if it's a small business, especially if it's a subchapter S company. They really don't get it. And so, I do worry about the feasibility of continuing to do business, not just here in the state of California, which has its own issues, but even in the U.S., just from a regulation, taxation, political standpoint. I think the other thing is the quality of our workforce. I think it's sad and it's very disturbing that we are now graduating kids with no employable skill set, and that should trouble everybody in this country. Especially here in California, we have about a 30% dropout rate from high school. I mean, that's more than tragic. That's really a crime against the next generation, that we have so many undereducated kids, and even if we do educate them, they don't come out, like I said, with employable skill sets. And as we mentioned at the top of the discussion, manufacturing is only getting more and more advanced and more technical, and therefore you've got to have skill sets that are aligned to that. I just do not see our educational system producing graduates that have a skill set that will allow them to be successful in manufacturing without actually going back and getting more education or education directly from the employer. Those two alone are pretty troubling to me. So I think the only other thing is just there's a lot of political unrest right now around the world, and there's a lot of economic instability around the world. It'll just be interesting to see how that ultimately shakes out and how that impacts our business, especially outside of the U.S.
Lots of things to think about right now.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for your time today.
Great. Thank you very much.